I'm Sarah Richards. I was hurt in November of 2009 on a slip and fall and injured my back. I had went to dinner with my husband and brother and sister-in-law. It had a tile floor. We had walked in, sat down. Our feet underneath the table were sliding. Told the waitress, she said, "Oh yeah, somebody spilled a salad down there." I got up to go to the restroom, and in the process I said, "Hey, we're gonna come and clean the floor." Waitress comes up and says, "Ma'am, you can sit back down now." I turned around and took one step and fell feet above my head, hard onto the floor, and slid about 4 feet into the wall. At first I was just more mortified than anything, just thought, oh, I'm a little bruised and I'll be fine. Next couple days it just progressively got worse, and eventually had to go to the hospital to get looked at, and after almost 5 to 6 months of tests, finally found out that I had compressed my lower vertebrae, which had punctured my lower 2 discs in my back and needed a 2-level spinal fusion. But ended up with 4 back surgeries and $500,000 in medical bills. Just started calling attorneys when I couldn't get anything done through the insurance company after I was hurt and trying to get treated, and they were probably the 4th or 5th firm we had called. Most of them said not even interested.
Sarah first came to us and had told us that she had already talked to about 5 other law firms who had refused to take her case. That's not unusual in slip and fall cases, because although most people think they're very easy cases, from a legal perspective and winning them and getting a substantial verdict, they're very difficult to handle. But when she came to us, she'd been out of work now, she was not able to work. She and her family were suffering because of the loss of the income. She was very scared and worried because she was having these major surgeries that were occurring. And we were able to help calm her somewhat through that process.
It's constant frustration when you're hurting so bad. You can't get anybody to call you back. You're trying to figure out, how am I gonna take off work for 8 weeks to have back surgery, and not to mention the countless medications and times of just literally being so medicated in order to not be in extreme pain that you're just practically bedridden.
When I first met Sarah and I learned about her background, she's the epitome of every working class mom in this country. She had a child, she had a husband, and she had bills and obligations that needed to be met. And because of the injury she incurred in this case, all of that was taken away from her. Not to mention the ability to interact with her husband and her children in the way that she had before. So when she came to us, she was just like any other mom who carried a job, tried to take care of her home and her family, and juggled all those tasks at the same time.
It'd be 11 o'clock and be on the phone with Jeff figuring things out for the trial, which to me said he was going above and beyond to make sure he did what he needed to do to prove that it was their fault that I had fallen.
And you develop that trust through trying to build a relationship with a client, and the only way you get that trust and build that relationship is by returning phone calls and communicating with them, and hopefully communicating clearly in a way that they understand so that they can be educated and know that we're giving them good advice.
In which case, Jeff was able to prove a multitude of things.
We're not aware of another verdict anywhere near the $1.81 million we received in this case that's been rendered anywhere in the state of Oklahoma. We believe that's a result of the immense dedication, time, and effort that we put into the case to make sure that it was successful.
It's helped me have financial security and be able to take care of the medical copays that will be ongoing and existing for the rest of my life.
It allowed her not only get past the burden of the debt from this case, but also any other debt she had in life, help pay off homes, things of that nature, so that she could establish a life that was pretty solid and financially stable. She's not set for the rest of her life, but it certainly put her in a position where her life is much more stable financially than it would have been without this.
If I hadn't come across Atkins and Markoff, I don't know that I ever would have gotten the insurance company to pay the medical bills.
Well, in this particular case, Ms. Richards not hired an attorney, there's no doubt in my mind that Olive Garden would have walked all over. They had told us they were never going to pay more than $100,000 in her case, even with attorneys involved. So she would have received some sort of lowball offer. Under her circumstances, her stressed financial circumstances, she may have accepted it. And without the education, knowledge, and experience that we brought to the table, she could have never gotten the result that she received.
Anytime anybody asks me my opinion or has something to do that might need an attorney, I always refer them to Atkins and Markoff. They truly are 100%, if not more, dedicated to their clients and doing the right thing for them.